Hello, Saskia from Devotional Goddess here. What has been coming up for you during this time? I'm sure it's a myriad of emotions. I've noticed for me, the more I've honed in on it, because it's not a comfortable feeling at all, and it's not a feeling that I like to hone in on, because it's envy. When I hear or I receive an email of someone launching something or getting something done, I get this feeling of discomfort, of agitation. And it really comes down to, you have time for that? You can do that? And it's about me coming to terms with, no, your time right now is to be present with your girls and to teach your virtual classes. And that's probably pretty much it. Even part of me would love to take in learning. Part of me would love to build my business, expand. But it's just not possible. My bandwidth is stretched. I have a whole list of things that I could do, but I'm not capable of getting to it at this time. I'm putting food on the table, I'm doing the laundry, I'm having them get to their classes, I'm having them take classes with me, I'm teaching, and oh my goodness, the day is gone. And blessings to you, parents who are juggling full-time jobs, still being expected to produce work while teaching and ensuring that your children are taking classes and learning of some shape or form, or even keeping them entertained. This is quite an unprecedented time. But our self-care practices are important. And coming to bear witness, wherever possible, where that discomfort and when that discomfort arises within us, when that agitation. So I'm aware that I have some work to do on my inner around acceptance and sending blessings and extending love to those who are able to do what I am hoping to do but not able to. Say, you know what, good for you, blessings, I'm so happy. And that does shift my state of consciousness from a place of lack to a place of abundance. For when I can celebrate or even acknowledge to my own mind's eye of an acknowledgement of somebody else and allow it to be in a positive awareness of my consciousness, it does shift my consciousness. It does raise my awareness. It does elevate my energy and put me in a better state of mind rather than my perceived awareness of lack or envy or resentment, whatever that kernel originates from. And then having some compassion and some self-awareness that it's all right. My love, you are juggling so much. Can you be present to it? Can you relax? And there are some days, yesterday, I allowed myself to laugh. I had a really bad night's sleep the other night. I barely slept. I wasn't warm enough, and then my mind was racing. And then I got stuck in that loop, and it took me a long time before I went into a deep sleep. So I was very much sleep deprived yesterday, which doesn't help our mental state. At least it doesn't help my mental state. So I felt like I was a bit in the sludge yesterday, a bit in the mud, having a hard time being light, a hard time being content, a hard time focusing. But in a way, it's very interesting during those times to honor that state. Just not have it be right or wrong, just acknowledging, okay, this is what it is in this moment. And it might be this way for the whole of the day, so be it. But then also, I noticed that when I allowed myself to smile or to laugh, that shift in my energy was all the more poignant. It was all the more present to me of how a smile, how laughter changes the sensations in my physical body. And I was like, ooh, this feels good actually. But then sometimes I regressed. Of course I do. Of course we do. It's human. And I forgot. And part of me wanted to forget. Part of me wanted to stay annoyed and angry because I had enough to be annoyed and angry about. It's like, okay, fine, that's your choice. Tonight you're going to get a good night's sleep. You're going to make sure you get to bed on the earlier side so that you go to sleep when you're truly tired. Because when we go beyond that moment of tiredness, sleepiness, if we push through it, then we're in another cycle of awakeness. And it is that much harder when you put your head on the pillow to truly fall asleep. And that's part of what my little recipe of not sleeping well was about. I stayed up just a little too late, and I was no longer tired, even though I was. I wasn't in a place where if I put my head on the pillow, I fell into sleep. I put my head on my pillow, and I was cold. And my feet were cold. And even curled up in fetal position, those feet stay cold until I realized, oh, you know what, you need to put socks on. But that was probably 45 minutes later, by which time I was clearly invested in the dialogue that was running through my head. But in hindsight, it was things that I hadn't allowed myself to get angry about. And it was situations that I hadn't fully advocated for myself. And part of me needed to hear, you have every right to be angry. You have every right to verbalize what it is that you are angry about. And I needed to hear myself. I needed to allow myself to be heard. It wasn't optimal, but it was, not until 1 a.m. that I fully fell into that deep sleep. But it was what I needed on some level. So I'm not harboring or guilting myself for being in that state. I'm acknowledging it. And I witness that the more I can acknowledge and find non-judgment about whatever state I am in, mentally, physically, and emotionally,